And this has been my kitchen.
Hey y'all, we're going to be doing a little recipe down there in Georgia, the state of Georgia. Well, we're not doing a Paula Deen recipe this time. We're actually going to be going to the other extreme. We're going to go to the extreme where you're out in the middle of nowhere and you live right next to a train track. I'm talking about Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. We're going to take a page from Mama June herself and cook us some Sketti and butter. Now, ever since I saw that episode on Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, I thought, Sketti and butter? The heck kind of combination is that? But then as it kind of circulated into public mainstream, people have been trying it. They say how interesting it tastes. And I thought, I've eaten some stranger things before. Why don't I make it tonight? So, we are going to be making Mama June's Sketti and butter. So let's check it out. Over here we got a stock pot full of boiling water, and we've added some salt and vegetable oil to prevent the noodles from starching up too much in the water, and also the oil prevents it from sticking. So we're going to take all of our spaghetti noodles, or our Sketti noodles as they say down in Georgia.
Sketti noodles.
Sketti. I'm just going to drop them right in there.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
Dogs are barking today.
Yes, they are. That doesn't mean that we're tired.
Nope.
So we're just going to shove them noodles on down into that water and get them all nice and cooking. And all it takes is just a little salt, a little oil, or as they say in Georgia, all. Little salt, little all in the boiling water. Let those cook for a bit, and then come on over here. We're going to show you the ingredients to make our sauce. We're going to be using margarine, which is what they used, but even though they called it butter, it was a country crock, I believe. We're using Golden Soft, which is the generic version of country crock. And we're going to be using some good old plain American ketchup. And we're going to be mixing the two together in the microwave for about 1:30 or until the butter is melted. We're going to stir those two ingredients together, and you got an instant sauce. And then when those noodles are done, I'm going to throw them both together. I'm going to serve it. I'm going to give it a little try. Now, I'm kind of reluctant and hesitant to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese on the top because they didn't have the Parmesan cheese. But I just can't enjoy spaghetti fully without a bunch of Parmesan cheese on the top. But maybe we can forego it tonight just to see how exactly it tasted. And then we'll make the decision later on, if we were to make this later on, to add the Parmesan cheese on the top. So, we're just gonna wait until these noodles are ready and soft. And then when they are just about ready to come out of there, we're gonna run upstairs to the microwave because we still don't have one down here yet, but we're getting there. And we're going to be nuking our sauce because it's going to be prepared the same exact way that they did. And what they would do is that they would take the butter and the ketchup, using no form of measurement whatsoever, and just throwing everything together in a bowl and judging by how much sauce you'll need to serve everybody their Sketti and butter. Basically, we have enough for 2, maybe 3 servings of spaghetti. Depends on how hungry you are. If you're really hungry, then it's about 2 servings. And if you're kind of hungry, it'll serve 3. So we're going to need 3 servings worth of sauce. So come over here and let us prepare that sauce. Oh my goodness, we need spoons, don't we? Well, that's okay. We'll just use one that we got from the ice cream shop. It works. Alright, so in goes the margarine, and we're going to be using a nice portion of margarine. That'll be like probably one good serving. It's almost like scooping ice cream.
It looks kind of it looks like ice cream too.
It's ice cream.
But mind you, people, this is not ice cream.
No. And don't put this on a cone either. I don't think it'll be very healthy of a snack.
No, actual ice cream would be healthier.
Dare me to eat that?
No.
I don't want to eat straight butter. I'm not 5 anymore. Of course, when I was 5 or 6 or one of those younger years, I actually did eat straight butter once. Because I read it in a book. One of the characters did it in a book, so I decided to try it at home, and it was nasty.
Oh, I could.
It was nasty.
Yeah, I could have told you that. It was not something that you would have wanted to try.
Yeah, but try a young child who doesn't know any better.
Well, you learn pretty quick.
Well, you know, I mean, it was right around the time I started learning how to cook food in the kitchen, preparing food in the kitchen, and my mother never really said, don't eat that butter. So how was I supposed to know?
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so we got our butter, and we got a good portion of butter in there, so now we're going to be needing about the same amount in ketchup. We're going to cover the same amount. We're going to cover it up in ketchup. That's a lot of ketchup going into this sauce. And a little more. That's going to be the half of the bottle. Okay, that's good.
Is that half of the bottle?
That's about half the bottle of ketchup. So, not even, I'm just eyeballing everything like they did. So, there we go. That's all you need to do. So then, we're going to go upstairs and pop this in the microwave for about 1:30, 1:45 until all that margarine is melted. And we're going to bring it down here, mix everything together. And by that time, those noodles should be done. And then we're just going to take some tongs, take some noodles, dip them in the sauce, give it a little mix, make it a little love, get down tonight. I'm sorry, got carried away there. Plate it, serve it, taste it, and see how well it tastes. And see if Mama June's recipe of Sketti and butter has anything to say against my regular spaghetti. Which, you know, chances are, if this is a successful recipe, if this does turn out pretty good, I am still going to be making my spaghetti the way I always do. This is not going to be like a new game changer for me. This is something to have like every once in a while, but definitely not every time I make spaghetti, because when I make spaghetti, you've seen how I make my sauce, and you know I like to use lots of ingredients like diced tomatoes, mushrooms. I go the whole 9 yards, and I use seasonings, and add a little bit of vinegar for tartness, and it just, and of course you can't leave off the bay leaves, of course, but that's just the way, you know, I prefer to make my sauces, especially for spaghetti. But this is just too simple of a recipe for me to do, and for a former chef and a former cook, it's kind of not that gourmet of a recipe that you would be making every day. But it's definitely interesting to try once in a while. So we are just going to try it and see how it is, see how well it is. Like I said, it might not be a game changer. It might not be a whole new way for me to cook spaghetti, but it is going to be an interesting and different way to prepare spaghetti based off of a television show from TLC. And I just got to try it at least once. So we are going to let these noodles boil, and remember to stir these noodles constantly, because the more you stir, the less stickier they get, at least until they soften, and then you don't have to worry about them sticking anymore. But when they first go into the water, you will definitely want to keep a good steady stirring on your spaghetti noodles. The more you have, the more they're going to be prone to sticking. And so that vegetable oil really helps in keeping them unstuck. And the salt, you add enough salt in there to help break down all the starch that leaches up into your water and makes it less cloudy. And it kind of purifies the water as you cook. So that's what the salt is there for. And I've used just some pure regular old pink Himalayan salt, which I found is very, very nice salt. I love that salt. I can't get enough of it. So I have a whole container like this big of pink Himalayan salt in the cupboard. So let's go ahead and leave those to cook. I'm going to take this bowl upstairs, nuke it for about 1:30 to 1:45. I'll bring it down here, we'll mix it together, and we'll just meet in the middle and see how well this recipe turns out. So I can definitely tell you why it smells a lot like ketchup. Why would I think that it would smell any different because butter's in it?
I don't know.
But, well, probably because it's
It
not
might be
cooked yet.
it might be different once it's
Once it's cooked,
Yeah.
it'll smell and taste way different than ketchup, I'm hoping. But anyway, let's go ahead and check this out and see how well it turns out. And I'll be back in just about a couple of minutes, and hopefully those noodles will show some progress. We'll resume, we'll put everything together, do a taste test, and let you know whether or not Mama June's Sketti and butter is worth making in your home. Take it from a former chef and cook of many various kitchens all across California. So let's get to nuking. Be right with you. And just as fast as I went up, threw it in the microwave, it's done. Had to do a little extra stirring to get all the butter to mix in, but it's all mixed together. And it looks kind of watery. I don't know, but I think that's the effect of butter and ketchup being mixed together. Wow. It smells like Chef Boyardee. It really does. It smells like the same sauce they use for their ravioli.
Maybe that's why.
I don't, maybe. But I am fascinated by the combination of ketchup and butter to make this aroma. Smelling just like Chef Boyardee or, you know, Campbell's, what is that, SpaghettiOs. That's pretty much what it smells like to me, yeah. So, let's go ahead and we'll put that aside. And let's grab a spaghetti noodle. Oh yeah, those are looking nice. Okay. Now, I can usually tell when spaghetti is finished, but according to Mama June and Honey Boo Boo, the best way to test it is throw it against the wall. And if it sticks, it's ready. And as you can see, it's stuck to the wall, it's ready. Sure. Okay, there we go. So, I'm going to take that off. And this is my only strainer I have at the moment. So we're going to take this off to the sink, drain off all the water, make sure your noodles are nice and dry. Okay, we're losing it a little bit, which means it's not flush against the rim of the stock pot, so a few noodles escaped.
You're probably going, we're free.
Yeah, times like this I really wish I had one of those strainers you put in, you put over the sink. We have one at work, $7.99. I have not yet picked it up yet. I need that strainer. I want that strainer. That would be a humongous aid in our cooking plights for future recipes. Okay, so that's about as much water as we're going to get out of that. So, back over here again. Let the residual heat from the stovetop kind of help evaporate the rest of that water. I'm going to get a couple of bowls and, why not, a pair of tongs. Okay, let's get it out of there.
Toss it in.
Okay, so first things first, I'm going to give each bowl a little sauce, equal amounts, because I'm a saucy kind of person. I like my sauce. Okay, so of course there's going to be a little extra water in there, so we're going to let this drip dry a bit. Again, I really wish I had my strainer, but I don't. I just have what you saw me use there, and it's works good for smaller pots, but for bigger stock pots it doesn't really work that great. And we're just going to give these noodles a little toss. Add some more noodles.
Now it's definitely starting to look like Chef Player D type.
Doesn't it though? And add some more noodles to that. Move that aside so I have more room. Get off of there.
It doesn't want to.
There.
It just does not want to cooperate with you, does it?
No, it don't. But either way, we'll get through it. So I'm going to give these noodles a little toss in the sauce. Mix it together. Try to bring some of that sauce up to the top.
Looks like you looks like you pretty much ran out of the sauce. It looks like.
No problem. We got more. Pour some of that more sauce over the top. Do a little stir in there to get it to move down to any of the noodles that may be untouched by the sauce, and there you go. Sketti and butter. Let's do that again.
I might actually use a little. I might want to get a little bit more of that sauce too.
I'm not gonna touch it, don't worry. Don't worry.
Give a little toss in the spaghetti sauce. Give the noodles a toss in the Sketti sauce with butter. You want more noodles than that, or?
Maybe a little bit more, and then just put a little bit more of the sauce in there, and that should be good.
Now, usually I would use a lot of seasonings with this. I would at least cook my noodles with some basil in the water to give it some extra flavor, and I would add some Italian seasoning to the sauce to give it more flavor, and a little more vinegar to add that little zestiness that we like in our sauce. But this time I didn't do that. I wanted to be as close to Mama June's recipe as possible so that I can experience the same type of Sketti and butter that they've experienced. And let me get all those noodles in there. They're trying to leave the bowl.
Trying to.
I actually gave you more than I did, than I had. I might actually take this one and give you that one if that's, or if you can eat all that.
I'll try and eat all that.
Okay.
I like spaghetti anyway.
Okay, and then add some more sauce on the top. Always helps to make more than enough sauce because you can never have too much sauce. I have great knowledge in this fact. You can never, ever have too much sauce. Okay, give it a little toss. Send that sauce throughout our bowl. And next thing you know, you got Sketti and butter. There it is. That is Sketti and butter, brought to us by the one and only Mama June from the show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. And note that this is the very first time that I've made this recipe, tasted this recipe, and I had a little more noodles to top myself off too. That does look quite interesting. So once I stir this in and toss it a little bit, I'm going to get us a taste test and see how well this sauce holds up. But I can already tell you right now, the way I make my sauce is still going to be the better way to make it. But you happen to be talking to a former chef, and former chefs will always say that their sauce recipes will be better than Sketti and butter. Okay. Get a couple of forks. If you drop this in the street, wouldn't it be a fork in the road? Alright, Okay. So let us try our first taste of Mama June's Sketti and butter. Mind you, with no Parmesan, which is a mortal sin in my book.
Yeah, it is a sin in your book. Well, you know, you could always put it on after.
I could, but let me get a taste of this and see how well it stacks up to my spaghetti. Holy cow. That's a lot better than I thought it was. My goodness. Man, I never thought it was going to be that good. Damn. It's still not a game changer for me, but still. When I feel like I don't want to sit there and make a whole batch of sauce, this is what I'd make. Well, despite the fact that you may or may not be a fan of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo or Mama June, I do recommend you trying this recipe at least once. And then you can see that there are just so many ways that you can reinvent spaghetti, even when the recipe calls for very simple and basic ingredients that you probably have in your household in abundance of. I'm going to go take this bowl of Sketti and butter and probably put on some Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. So, from our kitchen to yours, this is SonicBlu saying, if you're not cooking good, you're not eating good, and who would have ever thought you'd be eating good Sketti and butter? I definitely didn't.
This map was
At least until now.
Okay, yeah, this already